Hey everyone, it's Victor with Design Your Own Destiny. First off, I wanted to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I hope you're getting a lot out of them. I really enjoy making them and putting this content out there to help people. And so if you are, then subscribe to the page. I'm going to be putting out new videos just about every day. If you know someone that could use these videos or would get value out of them, also then share them and like the video so that more people can see them. I really want to spread this message as far as I possibly can. So again, thank you guys for watching. This next series is about joy, and we all know that joy is about happiness, and it's a feeling of happiness and pleasure. Tim Cook said, let your joy be in your journey and not in some distant goal, which reminds us to be in the moment and appreciate every moment that passes. And Carlos Santana said basically about that, if you carry joy in your heart, you can heal any moment. So both things are about moments. And there's also great power in joy. And what is that power? Watch and find out. Thank you guys so much, and be blessed.
Number 3, joy is not about avoiding challenges, grief, or sorrow. These are part of life. It's not this Pollyanna thing that you do. I talked the other day with a friend of mine, Gladys. Gladys is a physician with 6 children. Gladys is in her 80s. Last year went to Afghanistan to find out why the rate of maternal mortality was so high in Afghanistan. And she said, you know what you do. You just get a bunch of women together and keep them in the same hut, for a week, and you get your answers. And they'll all laugh and they'll tell you. And Anyway, her oldest daughter, who's my age, just died of breast cancer. And I said, so Gladys, how are you doing with that? She said, it is so extraordinarily hard. And on the other hand, I am so grateful because she was such a wonderful person. And she died with us at home and made peace with her father in the last 2 weeks of her life. And so it was this experience of tremendous joy and grief and loss simultaneously. It's not one or the other. Pain-filled joy, joy-filled pain. When I was at Sonavive recently, I did a 3-day juice fast. Last year I was with my sister and we did a 5-day juice fast. She did a 6-day juice fast, but she is a former Olympic skier. So she has that kind of, I can run into a tree and get up and keep skiing thing, and I can't keep up with that level of grit. So this year she wasn't there, thank God, so I could get off the juice early. But here's what I noticed. Joy has a trajectory. So if you're on nothing but green juice and a little watered down apple juice with some pectin and clay in it, to draw out the toxins, and you do that for 3 days, let me tell you what a piece of lettuce tastes like. That's the trajectory of joy. You can never appreciate how good it is until you've experienced how bad it is. The height of your joy is equally matched by the depth of your sorrow or your grief. What kind of stories do we like? We like the kind of story, which was really kind of my kind of story. I know that compared to some of you it's nothing, but to me it was a big deal. So in 1999, I'm on Oprah for the very first time, and my marriage ends the next day. And it's just truth. And, we had like 100 feet of snow here in Maine, and I was completely alone in my house. And then, later on I got a couple cats, and I thought, oh, God. So now I'm a middle-aged woman alone with cats. And so I had to face all of what I thought would happen at midlife, because you're over 50 and then that's the end of it, right? I mean, have any of you gotten that programming in this culture? I think I was the only one, maybe. But anyway, life is so good now. It's so much better that the trajectory, plus I found an old marketing piece for my first newsletter from 1994. I should have brought it. The pictures are so funny They are so funny. I look about 100 years old, and I don't know what I was thinking about the hair, but you know how that is, right? You know, the perm? You know. But we thought we looked good. I mean, what can I say? Anyway, it's the trajectory that makes it fun. It's the only way you can appreciate it. You go out skiing, you're frozen to the bone, or snowmobiling, you come in to a nice fire, and it feels so wonderful. So you need to have the contrast of both. There's a book that I'm reading now that I am having a really fun time with, and it's called When the Sun Goes Down, A Serendipitous Guide to Planning Your Own Funeral. It's by Betty Brewhaus, Breuhaus. It is a very upbeat book. You get tremendous ideas from it, and like she said, if you don't plan it, someone else will. And she said, and maybe you don't want to have Amazing Grace and a bunch of lugubrious people and some minister who knows you from nobody, right? And so I read a book when I was trying to get up to speed on finances called Beyond the Grave. Any of you read Beyond the Grave? It's a book for estate planning. It has case histories of what happens when the children fight over everything, okay? The dog, the mother's piece of jewelry, whatever. So it helps you kind of shoot yourself out into eternity and look back to see what you could have accomplished. So the idea of planning your own funeral, okay, one of the things I know for sure, everyone's going to die, but not everyone's going to live. Everyone's going to die, but not everyone's going to live. But imagine if you could live in such a way that you think about that final party as the best bash you can possibly put on for anybody. Plus, I work with all these people. I just do. I'm just going to tell you because, you came out in this weather to see me. And I work with people who see what goes on at funerals. They see the spirit right there yucking it up. And I've been through enough of my own, my sister, my dad. And we had a fun time with those funerals. Very, very fun. Now, is that morbid? No. We're just celebrating that life because I don't think we ever die. We just recycle anyway. Who cares, right? One thing you just want to do, though, you want to live so that you will not come back and have the same mother or father if they are a problem to you. Okay? Yeah. So you want to clean that up as much as you can. Because I know what will happen. My friend Gladys is very interesting. She's written a lot about this stuff. And she talked about, they did a lot of work with Edgar Cayce and so on. And she said, so with the 6 kids, they're fighting once, the 10-year-old and the 8-year-old. And she says, now remember, Johnny, you chose to be here in this family. And Johnny goes, yeah, but I didn't remember that he was going to be here. Families are the hardest people you will ever deal with. Is this correct? Yes. The hardest people. So if you're doing okay with that, you're doing okay. All right. Step number 4, you must follow a joyous lifestyle to create a body that can hold the charge of more joy. Let me tell you a little bit about joyous eating, okay? So I brought here some of these fabulous organic strawberries. I'm just going to show you how joyous eating works. I can't pull this off all the time, but, I can here. So you just want to take the smallest possible bite as sensually as you possibly can, okay? Like that. Can't you just taste it? You can get these in the tavern later. Like that. So, if you eat this way, which I do maybe 20% of the time, but this is one of my goals this year, you enjoy your food so much more. Your food is digested entirely differently. Remember when I told you joy affects metabolism? That's the truth. So if you glean every bite of goodness from the food and you eat slowly as though you were dancing in the moonlight with a lover, you will lose weight because you'll be full on far fewer calories. I have a friend who just completed the Duke program, the weight loss, very famous weight loss program. And they put them on 1,200 calories a day, but here's what they do. They put dinner down. You have to sit there for 1 hour. For 1 hour. So if you gulp it in 10 minutes, which most of us do, you're still sitting there. So what do you think you learn? You learn to eat slowly and sensually and to chew. Okay, give yourself this goal. Chew 30 times, every bite. It will transform your life. Maybe next year if I do this, I will have accomplished this more than 20% of the time. But if you chew 30 times, you'll eat much less and you'll be far more satisfied. And sit down and enjoy your meal. So that's eating consciously, mindfully, which changes your digestion. The other thing most people need is they need enough omega-3 fats from wild Alaskan salmon, flaxseed, hemp seed, macadamia nuts, fish oil. They need enough omega-3 oils because most of your brain is omega-3 fats. The coating of all nerves is omega-3 fats. Right now in this country, we still have a lot of trans fats, which is like ingesting plastic, and they sort of stay there forever. And they get into your cell membranes, and they change the way the membrane processes all the impulses that come through. A little saturated fat is fine. A little omega-6 fat, like the seed oil and nut oil, is okay. But primarily your diet should be omega-3 fats. You also need enough micronutrients in your diet. Magnesium is a very calming mineral. Most women are deficient in magnesium. You will find that if you just get enough magnesium, many times you'll calm down, you won't get as many headaches, this sort of thing. Vitamin D, we are hopelessly deficient in vitamin D because we've been told to be afraid of the sun. What makes you feel better on a beautiful day than going to the beach? Right? Your body doesn't lie. I just heard something that I thought was amazing. A dermatologist in New York City told a friend of mine that he would rather she risk a little skin cancer rather than die of a broken hip from osteoporosis from not having enough vitamin D. Now that's a sea change, folks. I don't think you need to get skin cancer either if you have enough antioxidants, which prevent rusting of the body, from fruits, vegetables, and a good antioxidant vitamin supplement, then you don't need to get that either. I'd have your vitamin D levels checked if you haven't already. It should be about 45 or over. And the 80% of the women who are on those bone-building drugs that most of them don't need have low levels, way too low levels of vitamin D. They're very, very deficient. I'm worried about those bone-building drugs because though they increase bone density, the bone that is built is fake bone, and it's so dense that the blood vessels can't get into the bone, and that's why so many women report needing root canals after starting on those drugs, because the bone in their jaw becomes so hard and so brittle that the blood can't get to the teeth. Yeah. So, the sun. What brings more joy? The sun. You want to know what else the sun does? It increases testosterone levels. Makes you feel kind of frisky, kind of, The Greeks, the ancient Greeks had a practice called aeronation. A-E-R-O, whatever. It was aeronation. R-O-N-A-T-A, anyway. But the guys ran along the beach naked because the belief was that the sun would reflect off the sand up to their testicles and raise testosterone levels. Now, it's interesting that if you're out in the sun more, you get better muscles. It's just true. You feel better. You get more serotonin, this sort of thing. I would recommend, for those of you who live in this area, just a little tanning booth thing. Do the stand-up thing, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Do you a world of good. It help with the joy. All right? So that is the joy diet. Now we're going to have the joy movement. We know that exercise and moving increases beta endorphin, makes you feel much better, that sort of thing. See, dance breaks are a big part of a joyful lifestyle. And I would do this, if you're a lawyer, do it in the boardroom. In the operating room, there's a lot of good music, okay? So surgeons do this, all kinds of good music. You can change a negative mood very, very quickly with a dance break. So I would create dance break lists for your iPod or whatever, and just put them on. I have to make myself do it. Now, this is the really good news. When I wrote those 3 doorstops, I could... No, they're very good books, okay? And everyone should have them on their bedside tables. We know that. However, I could sit for almost 8 hours at a stretch and never get up. I can only sit for about 30 minutes now without a dance break, because my ability to receive pleasure and live in joy has been so increased in the last 5 years. And the same will be true for you. Do this. Now, the PhD level of this is naked in your bathroom. Okay? All right. Naked in your bathroom. How many of you do that now? This is good. Okay? I knew this was my kind of... Thank you, Larry. Thank you. But, Larry, you do this naked, in a restaurant, for God's sake. Okay. Thank you. So, I want to give you some scientific literature that just tickles me. Okay. The name of this paper is Heavy Duty Science, okay? The Joy Dance. Specific effects of a single dance intervention on psychiatric patients with depression. Okay, so they did art therapy, they did talk therapy, they did antidepressant therapy, they did all kinds of things. Do you know which ones the psych patients found the most helpful? The Joy Dance. Do you remember that TV show with Balky Bartokomous? Come, cousin, we do the dance of joy. Remember? And they would do, I remember that. And I think it's a really good idea. And over time, this is the great thing about being older than 50. With each passing year, you care less and less about what anyone thinks. Yeah, this is true. You don't care. It's like, it is so painful, to be like 25, 30. You care. You really, and you think that those people can somehow adversely influence your life. And they can, till you hit about 50. And then when you've been living joyously and you hit about 50, 55, whatever, they're all sort of fallen by the wayside. That's what I've noticed. Yeah, a lot of my colleagues. I had some fun moments, though, in the hospital. One of my very favorites, if you can stay in the fun, you're usually safe. I asked a conventional colleague once to cover my practice on a weekend, and he goes, well, all right, but what do I do if someone calls in with sprout poisoning? Okay. All right. Okay, step number 5. Choose joyous entertainment. You did that. You came here tonight. Okay, choosing joyous entertainment. I remember when I went to see Sixth Sense, it was during that time, when I was alone and there was 100 feet of snow and, all that. I get home, so I see dead people. And everywhere, I knew they were going to come out of my closet. I have to really watch it. You see, I have to watch it. Stephen King lives in this state, And though he's a very good storyteller, that stuff scares me to death. Why? Because that's as real, that reality is as real as my reality. But it's not more real. Now, this is really exciting. There's a book called Power versus Force, and they point out that a positive person and a positive thought and something that comes from the heart and from love is hundreds and hundreds of times more powerful than a negative thought. So one enlightened person can neutralize 5,000 to 10,000 negative people. So you don't need to worry. So, I'm going to take the movie, what's that fantastic movie about the unwed pregnant woman? Juno, fun movie, very fun, uplifting, teenage pregnancy, makes it fun. I'll always go for that. See, the way I see it is anything worth taking seriously is worth making fun of. Always. You want to lighten it up, always. But I don't go see those other movies. I don't do it because I know what happens to my serotonin and beta endorphin levels and all of that. I'm a very sensitive person. I'm very sensitive, and I don't want to do that. So choose joyous entertainment. Don't get sucked in because you think that the other is important. It's more important to be depressed. It's very important. It's very erudite. If you are not depressed, you're ill-informed. If you're not depressed, clearly you don't know what's going on. You're not keeping up. Okay? All right. Number 6, become media savvy. You all need to realize, I know you realize this, but I've been out there. You heard that thing, the Tom Brokaw thing and NBC and Good Morning America. And I've been down there. I know how news is made. A lot of it's just made up. And it's, if it bleeds, it leads. Remember that Holly Hunter movie? Network or whatever it was called? Yeah, broadcast news. That's how it is. And if we don't have a big storm coming, they'll still run a story, Storm Center. So, okay, we're not having one now, so let's run reruns of the Great Ice Storm of 1998. Because we got to whip you into a frenzy. Okay, so you need to become media savvy and just get how it works. Now, this is the truth about the human physiology. Because of our survival programming, it is something like 6 times easier to induce blisters with hypnosis than it is to heal something. Because our limbic brains, our ancient brains, are set up for survival. I think we're between species right now. I really do. I think that we are evolving into a lighter and lighter species. I actually think that we're becoming 2 species. There's the lighthearted people over here, and their lives are getting better and better, and they look younger and younger. I mean, Betty, you showed up tonight. So this woman was my patient for years and years, and she tells me she's 70, and it's like, what? Because you haven't changed 1 iota. See, because you're on that light path. I can tell. And I'm on that light path too, and then every year it gets better and better and better. And then there's those other people. And everything's getting worse and worse and worse. You know who they are. And I wouldn't spend much time around them if I were you, if you could help it. You could, maybe shove some food under the door or something. Okay. And that takes me... I didn't really mean that, but but you know what I mean. Okay, number 7, you've got to choose joyous company. You have to choose joyous company. And you need to, and of course what's going to happen is you'll feel guilty. Let me tell you how I choose speaking engagements. This will help you with your life. Okay? Anytime someone says, we need you, or these people need your message, they need to hear you. Of all the people on the planet, they need what you have to say. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm not going anywhere that's not fun, because Diane and I have noticed, and we've been doing this for 30 years, if it's hard at the beginning, it just gets worse. How you do it is what you get. If it's fun at the beginning, the person calls, it's uplifting, whatever. And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's some like big honking celebrity. If it's hard at the beginning, it's just going to be hard. That's the way it is. And then the next shoe drops, and the next shoe drops. It doesn't get any easier. This thing we did here tonight with Melissa at Leapin' Lizards was easy from the beginning Thank you, Melissa. It was easy. So we did it, and it was always easy. Yeah. And, the hair seek it in was easy. Easy. That's how you know that this is the right thing. It's easy. Of course, you'll have that addiction to suffering, and you'll think, this is too easy. I don't think I can trust this. I didn't break a sweat. They like me here. They're paying me. And it's on a good day when I'm not missing anything back at home. I don't know if I can trust that. See, so remember, you've got to be around joyous people and affirm joyous people. And if there aren't any joyous people out there just yet, you become joyous and get to like your own company. This is actually extraordinarily important. Your conversation with yourself, the one inside your own head, is the most important joy-filled conversation you'll ever have. It is the most important. You got to like yourself. I'm going to tell you how you start liking yourself. And that is, number 8, affirm joy with words. Let me give you a quote from Rudyard Kipling. I am by calling a dealer in words, and words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind. I'm going to read it again because I love it. I'm kind of a word person. I'm a book addict, right? Okay. I am by calling a dealer in words, and words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind. There was an interesting study done by Becca Levy down at Yale, one of my favorite studies, and she had two groups of people over the age of 65 walk down a hall the length of a football field and measured their swing time, the amount of time the foot was off the floor, and the speed at which they walked. Then she had the two groups play computer games, and there were subliminal messages with words behind the screen in the computer game. One group got the words astute, wise, fun-loving. The other group got decrepit, useless, elderly, weak, sick. Okay, then she had both groups walk the length of the football field again, measured swing time again, and the time it took them to walk. The group that had the subliminal, uplifting words, astute, wise, healthy, vital, walked much faster, and their swing time, the amount of time the foot was off the floor, was far better. Now, the people with no swing time, they're the people with no crease in the shoe, and they get in front of you in the airport. They're like this. Okay. What? Okay. So I'm thinking the intervention for that is you go behind them. They're not attending to their personal space anyway. But wouldn't this be fun to try? You go, and because you don't care anyway because you're over 50, and you go up to them and you go, astute, handsome, fabulous, and see if you could get a crease in the thing. Wouldn't that be interesting? Okay, so this is what you do with words. I do this. I want you to practice this. So here's what you do. You look in the mirror when you go out the door. It's nice to have a little mirror by the door. You check yourself out. For me, it's always the greens in the teeth, before you go out. And then you say, God, you're cute. Fabulous dress. Oh my God, who did your hair? Aren't you fantastic? Blow yourself a kiss. Say, I love you. And okay, so for a while, when you start to practice this, you'll feel like a complete jerk. That's okay. Remember, that is the ego. Everything good is outside. Your real self, everything good is inside. It's just talking to you. Oh, I love the way you're looking today. You are so hot. These are affirmations. Do any of you do this? Yeah, okay, over something about that side of the room. Yeah. So, okay, during the break, waiting, okay, you go and share with them the things you say. Now, out there at the book table, we have I Can Do It. That's Louise Hay's book full of affirmations. I have affirmations strewn throughout my book. They're a little harder to find. Louise is like the Cliff Notes. But it's always, and depending on your age, you can say, oh, my menstrual cycle is the way I connect with the cycles of the moon and the tides, and isn't it fabulous, like that. You can do your body, all the things that you don't think are so hot. You just turn that around. That's called an affirmation. You affirm joy. Affirmations don't make something happen, they make something welcome. Remember that, right? They don't make something happen, they make something welcome. And over time, more and more and more of that stuff will come in. And then pretty soon you'll be saying, life is getting easier and easier. And it's more and more fun. And now I'm surrounded by really fun people. And that's how it works, little by little by little. Okay, number 9, let yourself be excited. Happiness and joy come from being excited about something. What do you get excited about? Do you know, what do you get excited about?
Coming here tonight.
Coming here tonight, that is good. Okay. Same, being here. Okay, Diane, what do you get excited about? Oh, Diane. Oh, Diane. A great lunch. We get excited about a great lunch. We do, yeah. I get excited by the size of the biscotti that comes with a cappuccino. Okay. Sunsets I can get excited about. A new novel that I can just fall into, like a big one that lasts a long time. I get excited about that. A nice hot bath, get excited about that. Shopping. Yeah, oh, you're here in Freeport. Yes, the shopping is really great. For those of you from away, you can just trot on down to LL Bean after this talk. They're open 24 hours a day. It's a very exciting store, all right? So anything that you get excited about, and make a list of that. And when you do something exciting, tell somebody. All of this is to reinforce the pathways of joy. They have to be reinforced, reinforced, reinforced. My friend Regina, Mama Gina of the Mama Gina School of Womanly Art says, undigested good turns to shit. Okay? So it's true, isn't it? So when something good happens, you have to brag about it. You need to tell somebody about it. Because what we usually do is we've got some bad news, we call everybody we can think of. But if we have some good news, people will think you're bragging and that you're retarded, right? Okay, so you're going to vet out your friends by how much joy and happiness they can stand coming from you. This is really, really important, isn't it? It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Okay, and then finally, number 10, cultivate a relationship with the divine. A relationship with source energy with a capital S, because our higher self is what's really in charge, and our higher self is always happy and healed and whole right now. Happiness isn't a journey, it's now. It's the minute you decide to have happiness now for no good reason, despite all the evidence to the contrary. My sister was telling me the other night, this is the one where we were doing the juice fast competition, right? And of course, I go to Sanaviv to do my juice fast, but she goes to India and does panchakarma, where you eat mung bean soup and papayas for an entire month, nothing but that, and then you do incredible purges and stuff with clarified butter and, I don't know. But people she was there with said, we are who our higher self wanted to experience. Don't you love that? So your higher self is this bigger part of ourselves that sees it all, laughs at us, laughs with us. We are who our higher self wanted to experience. And she said in the Kabbalah, one of the words for God is certainty. Certainty. So when we begin something anew, when we begin a new regimen of exercise, a new regimen of joy, and we do it with certainty, we bring the energy of God into it. Now I want to end here with a prayer, and I want you to do this prayer for 7 consecutive days, every night before you go to bed or every morning when you get up. And this prayer comes from Seasons of Your Heart, Prayers and Reflections by Macrina Wiederkehr, Wiederkehr. It's one of the coolest prayers I have ever discovered. Are you ready? 7 days you're going to do this prayer. Here it is. Oh God, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. Amen. Going to repeat it. Oh God, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. Thank you very much. Thank you all.